Good morning, BookTube. Welcome to Jackie's Literary Corner. So I'm going till 3 today. So I thought I would make an update video. Although my plan had been to get a little bit, get up, get ready for the day, get some, eat some breakfast, get some reading done, and then go for my run. But it's actually, I don't know if you can tell. Well, you can't really tell, but it's actually raining, which it seems like this is the rainy time of year, which kind of sucks. Especially since I picked out last night. I felt so full. I probably should not have gotten, probably should not have gotten so much dinner. It wasn't a huge amount, but I still felt pretty full. And, there was a, Christmas tree festival, and they had, one of the restaurants at the clubhouse was open, so we got dinner there. We did the buffet, and we looked at all the cool trees, and there were a lot of trees that were, you could bid on the trees, and they were all themed to something different. There actually was one that was themed to cleaning products. So you got under the tree were all these cleaning products like Windex and stuff, I actually thought that was kind of funny. And then there was a Gone with the Wind inspired tree, which I really liked that one. And there was quite a few Toy Story inspired trees, I thought that was really cool, and I think my nephews would really like those. But there are all these different themes on each tree, and there's an insurance company themed tree, and they had all these books by people that, companies that run insurance, self-help type books. They actually had some games like the Game of Life and Monopoly was under the tree. I thought that was another funny one too. But so that was fun. This is one of those towns where they do a lot of stuff like that, small town. If you've seen Gilmore Girls, it's very much like that. Although where the neighbors, it's a little bit bigger. It's not as small, because I think Stars House is a little bit smaller than this neighborhood. So it's not as tight knit, but it still has kind of those type of activities that for a lot of these. Although we don't have as many special festivals and stuff like that. Stars Hall is all every year. There's a handful of festivals they do every year, winter inspired or spring festival inspired. So we're not as tight knit as that, but it's kind of similar to this town that I live in. But anyway, so here's what's going on with my reading right now. Well, first of all, I keep debating about DNFing a book, which is this one, The Bone Witch. But at the same time, I don't want to DNF another book at the same time. But the problem is this one, it's an older YA, I believe, but there are things about it that are kind of irking me a little bit. There's a lot of info dumping in this book, and it's very slow. It's a slow read. And they have a little bit of girl hate because, basically, if you have not heard of this book, like I said, it's an older YA, so probably you have. It's this girl who, she lives in a world where there are witches and stuff, not Wicked Witch of the West type, but, it's a more of a Wiccan, the actual Wiccan religion kind of thing, where, there's water witches, there are earth witches, and unfortunately our main character, Tia, they don't know what kind of witch she's going to grow up to be. But then, after her brother dies, she ends up miraculously bringing him back to life. So her family realizes she's a necromancer. And of course, being a necromancer, everyone's afraid of her now. And she becomes apprenticed to an older bone witch who shows up and comes to take her to another city for her to be trained. And she goes through this whole training process. She's going to go through this whole training process. And of course, surprise, surprise, there's a love triangle. And normally, love triangles don't get to me, and it hasn't even got to that point. And I have heard that from a reviewer that made me a little hesitant to DNF this book, said that the love triangle isn't not prominent in this book, but it is featured in the book. And I think we already met the two guys. So if you don't want to read a book that has a love triangle in it, then maybe you don't want to read this. But then again, maybe because it's definitely not in the book as much. Like, I haven't even really, she just had her interaction with one of the boys. I think she's also met the other one. I don't know if this other guy that was introduced is the other one in the love triangle or not. But just to let you know, if you have not read this book yet, but if you are interested, there is a love triangle that is introduced in this first book. But at the same time, it's not a prominent part of the story. It's more this young girl's journey, which I do appreciate. But really, the things that bug me are the info dumping. And I feel like there's some girl hate going on in this book. Because, so this girl is in training. And of course, there's girls that she has to compete. There's girls that are jealous of her and her job and stuff. And it's like, all these books always have that aspect, and it kind of is starting to annoy me now. Because it's like, I'm not saying that our main female character has to be friends with every girl she meets. But, yeah, girls get competitive with each other, and we got claws. But it just would be nice if it wasn't, it didn't, she had more female friends in the story. Because the two females that she seems to have become friends with, or at least they're allies, they're not really featured. They're, just mentioned in the story. They're not, there's a little interaction between, that we get, but they're not, heavily featured in the story. They barely get any scenes so far. Now, granted, I haven't even got to the halfway point yet. It's a cool concept, and it's kind of and I keep looking for Asian-inspired fantasy constantly. I love Europe, and I love European-inspired fantasy, and I will continue to read it. But I can understand why, it's kind of nice that they have some more Asian-inspired fantasy. I do want to see more, especially since I am, in a small way, Asian. Not enough that where I don't think people can tell. Although people, once I tell them, they say that you can tell with my eyes. But, I am Filipino. My mom's half, and then my grandmother's full Filipino. And she was married to an American Southern gentleman. So that's why my mom and my uncles are half. And my sister and I are only a quarter. But, I think all of us cousins on this side of the family are only a little bit Filipino. Although, my mom's cousin Ginny, her kids, I think you can tell more with them than my sister and I, that they're Filipino. They have, the more darker features, Filipino features. But in that particular one review that made me hesitant about DNFing did say that they believe that the main character is Filipino, or at least Filipino inspired or something. And I actually, when I commented to this person, I was like, I appreciate your review. I am hesitant about DNFing. I keep debating back and forth about DNFing the book, and I've been looking for Asian inspired fantasy, and then I said, and I kind of laughed, kind of a funny comment, but also was kind of serious, but although I was hesitant to put this in there because I don't want to seem all arrogant and be like, well, I'm Asian, so I would know. But I was also but then I mentioned that I was Asian, so I figured, in case you see this, don't ask me how accurate this is, because I don't know, surprisingly. But, like I said, I was also, feeling a little, as I was typing, I ended up keeping it in there and posting it, but I was like, I hope this doesn't come off as seeming like, well, I am Asian, so of course I would know. Even though in the comment I was saying, don't ask me because I don't know. Because I didn't want to, like, on the one hand, I don't want this person to think I'm assuming that they would ask me, but then at the same time, I was worried that what if they saw that I was, and then they would ask me, and if they saw the comment. So, but I ended up writing it in my comment, and I don't know how to delete it anyway. Well, I could, but I didn't want to delete the whole comment, so I could delete it, but I didn't want to delete the whole thing, just that. I was tempted to delete that part. Either way, it's too late. And these people are strangers anyway, so, and they might not even look at it. So I guess it doesn't really matter. But anyway, I keep DNF debating. Plus, and what I mentioned this in the comment, that it's Thanksgiving, and so my sister and her family, and then my sister's college roommate and her family are coming, and they all have little kids, and little kids can be quite distracting, because either you're annoyed by them, or you absolutely love them, want to play with them, and give them hugs and kisses. So, for me, it's the latter, that, in case, that I want to, I'm excited to see them, and I want to play with them, and I want to watch them and hug them and stuff. And especially because of, like, working, I was nervous and I wouldn't get as much time with them, so I'm even more eager to spend time with them. But although it turns out I got lucky and I'm not scheduled for Thanksgiving, I was very happy about that. But, so I'm not sure if I'm going to DNF. I mean, it is YA, so I could, despite the fact it's slow, I would get it done quicker than I would get some of these other books that I have in the library. But I might DNF. I don't know. Like I said, I'm still debating. But but it would be nice to be able to give them the library back, would be nice to return at least 2 or 3 books rather than just 1 book. But I really have got to not get so many books from the library. The problem is, again, when you get there, and I think a lot of booktubers would understand this problem, when you get there and you're like, they're free books, so I can get as many as I want. Or not as many as I want. I mean, there's a limit. There's a 15 book limit. But, I mean, and also the fact that I would have I don't want to have too many to carry. Because, I mean, that might be the thing that gives me back problems in the future. I keep thinking about what's going to happen when I get old. I'm going to have back problems. Because, 1, I carry so many books. And 2, the whole cart thing. That's why I always make sure my postures. Like, I finally am starting to take my mom and my grandmother seriously. Because every time we would be going somewhere, and my grandma would approach me, like, adjust my body, because, she was making me make sure I stood up straight. And that used to bug me so much, but now I'm like, I look at all these older people that I see in this town, I'm like, okay, I don't want to end up like that when I get old. I don't want to have back problems. I don't want to be hunched over. So now I'm actually taking what they say seriously and actually trying to remember to be straight. Like when I'm sitting down, like something like this, or at my desk. Because it's easy to slip back into the habit of, like, when you're at your desk, hunched over. But the problem is, now that I'm trying to stand up straight, there are situations like when I go to the library, I get so many books from the library, or at work. Because I don't use because the rope is too difficult to me to maneuver. So I have to, so when I'm carrying the carts, I try to get 4, but the carts have minds of their own and will kind of move and slip away from me. So I'm trying to hold on to them, make sure they stay together. So I end up hunched over when I'm controlling the carts. So it's not, so I'm like thinking, okay, this is going to give me back problems. So that combined with all the books I get from the library and only having a backpack, yeah, I'm gonna have a hunched over back when I get old. That's my biggest fear. Well, not my biggest, but one of my fears. So anyway, like I said, I still don't know what I'm gonna do, if I'm gonna DNF this or not. Like I said, I don't want to have another DNF on my list of 100 books to read for my reading goal. But if I can, I'm going to try to get past the 100 so that it can make up for all the books I've DNF'd that I included on that list. Because, I mean, I don't want to, it's like, it's like you want to meet the goal, so it's like you kind of, if I DNF, I want to meet the goal, so if I DNF a book, I still end up, like, commenting and saying, I DNF this book, so it includes it, and I hope no one goes after me for that, or judges me for that, but, that's why I'm trying to beat that 100 goal, at least a little bit. So I don't want to DNF another one, but I might just do that. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out how I feel. So that's why I'm trying to focus more on this book, The Fourth Keeper of the Lost Cities book. This one, there are things that bug me about this one. Like, I have to remind myself that this was originally written between 12 and 15-year-olds. That's apparently what people say is their limit to middle grade. Like, it goes up to, I guess, 15, and then by 16 you're in the YA, young adult. But I have to remind myself, because there are things that do bug me about young adult, middle grade fiction, because again, it's written for a younger audience. So the writing is a little simpler, even more, like, a little simpler than YA. They're a little more, I feel like a lot of times middle grade is a little safer. Like, I mean, there was a character that died, and that I thought was going to die in the third book, and then, of course, miraculously, they just got really seriously injured, but they're okay. And I was like, dang it, really? Of course, no one ever dies. No one ever, and people just get seriously injured. Although that's not true. I mean, by the end of the third book, they did kill someone off, which I appreciate. Shannon Messenger does kill someone off. I'm not gonna tell you because I've already probably spoiled too much. But yeah, so sorry if you're reading the series and you haven't gotten to this book. Spoiler. Although, to be fair, I didn't tell you who. I just said that someone dies. But yeah, but, oh my god, I love Sophie as a character, but she's so incredibly irritating, because she's such a martyr and always is like, oh, it's my fault, I did this, if I hadn't done this, then it's my fault, and it's like, I mean, okay, it's one thing, I mean, it's partly her, but, I mean, she didn't start a war. She thinks she started a war in this book, and it's like, no, you didn't, honey. You are not. Yes, you are all-powerful and something that this group created and blah, 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 but no, you didn't start a war. And she keeps telling her, I hate main characters too. I mean, granted, I guess if I were in their position, I would feel the same way, but as a reader, it does annoy me when characters are like, oh, it's too dangerous, I need to go on my own, I'm gonna risk my life on my own without your help because I'm so have to protect you guys because you're my responsibility, even though I'm just the kid myself. So I have to protect you, so I'm gonna push you away or tell you, oh, you shouldn't go, when clearly this girl needs help. She can't do this on her own. She's just so obsessed with protecting, which I guess shows that she cares about them and she loves them, so it's a good thing. I would rather her care about these people and love them and want to protect them, but at the same time, it does annoy me, because, like, stop trying to protect everybody, stop being everybody's, stop trying so hard to, stop being a martyr, you can't do this, you really think you're capable of doing this on your own, you need your friends. And it reminds me of Harry in a way. Which, it's funny, because people do kind of compare, at least not, I mean, it's not the same kind of story, but the feelings you get from Harry Potter, people say it's the same way with this series. And I can see that. I mean, I don't entirely feel the same way, but granted, I'm also 30 years old. Which, although, it's funny, because people like Reagan, I don't know if she's in her early 20s, or maybe she's in her mid-20s currently. But, I don't, but it's like, and she has, I mean, certain things, she's able to, be like, remember, okay, it's middle grade, so yeah, there are things that I'm a little bit too mature for it, but she can look past the juvenile writing style and stuff like that, and just enjoy the adventure. but sometimes I struggle with that. And of course, this book, the good news is about it does have kind of a romance thing going on. I don't know if it's what shape it is, because there are so many characters. Like, the three boys like Sophie, all have a crush on Sophie. I'm pretty sure that Keith likes Sophie too, has a crush on Sophie too. But he's cooler about it, and he's not, like, obsessing or getting easily jealous. Like, I love Dex, and it annoys me that people hate him now because of after what happens in book 3. It's like, oh my god, he didn't know any better. He just was, his pride got the better of him. That does not mean he deserves to be hated on. You know, yes, he screwed up and he feels horrible about it, but it's like, even if someone feels horrible about it, it feels like it's never enough, no matter how horrible they feel, no matter how much guilt they put on themselves, or if the other characters forgive them, people will still, fans are very passionate. You know, we're a very passionate group of people, so no matter how much a person punishes themselves, it doesn't matter, because we'll still be like, I hate what this character did. How dare they? And I feel so bad because, Dex didn't know any better. He screwed up, and he shouldn't have done that. He let his pride get the best of him, and his jealousy, but at the same time, he's still just a kid. He's like 13, 15 years old, and he didn't know any, I'm not excusing what he did. No, I'm not excusing what he did. But at the same time, he's still just a kid, you know? And he doesn't deserve the hate he gets. But, like I say, but at the same, I don't think, I'm starting to lean more towards Keith as the love interest for Sophie. But there are times when Keith annoys me. Like, he has this whole defense mechanism making everything seem like a joke. Not taking things seriously, and always, just laughing it off and trying to lighten the mood with humor. But there are times when it would get on my nerves. I mean, I love Keith, but again, it would just be like, why can't you take things seriously? And there are rare moments where he does, especially when he found out about found out some information about his family that he didn't like, and you can't really blame him. So he does. At one point, he does for a moment, but then he goes back to taking, laughing things off and, acting like he doesn't care, that it doesn't bother him, and it would just be very frustrating. I imagine Sophie's very frustrated. She feels so bad for the guy, for the information he finds out about his family, but then at the same time, he's so oh, don't worry about me, I'm cool, when I'm more worried about you and your emotions, because unfortunately the kid is an empath, so he can feel what she feels. And he's the only one that knows about her crush. Dex knows too. That's why he's jealous. Because he likes Sophie. And that's the only reason why I feel bad for him. I feel like, because he really likes her. And she's totally, I think she might, I don't know if she's aware or not. She seems totally oblivious, but at the same time, maybe she is aware, but she just doesn't see him like that. But I think she needs to tell him that. She should, wouldn't she? I know she has all these other things to worry about, but I think before all that stuff started happening, really, everything just really exploded in her face, maybe she should have told Dex, been from the start, it's I see you as a friend. I don't like you in that way. But, especially with his constantly complaining that she's always hanging out with Fitz, and everything, they're always partners, and now they can communicate telepathically. It makes them even more annoyed, because it's like they have this intimate connection now. But I'm annoyed. I'm really nervous that Shannon Messenger is gonna make Fitz the end game. It's no, because it's too predictable. Of course, the guy that she's a crush on, it turns out, oh, I like you too, and oh, let's get together. We're meant to be a couple, and it's no, that's too predictable. That always happens. The girl always ends up with the guy she's a crush on, and it's sometimes I like him, but other times it's too predictable. I want her to end up with one of the other guys. Like I said, I'm kind of leaning more towards Team Keith now. Although I was Team Dex before, and like I said, I don't like how everyone hates him now because of he screwed up. I think like, I think fans just hold some of these characters to such a high standard that when they screw up in the story, it's like, I hate you. How dare you? I mean, I guess at the same time, it shows they really care about these characters. They feel very strongly about them, and that's probably what an author wants. But at the same time, as a fan, I mean, maybe if I ever did write a book, maybe it wouldn't bother me, because I love all my characters, and I wouldn't care as much. But from the fan perspective, being a fan and having not published anything yet, I haven't even written anything down yet, it's like, it's more bothersome to me when the character's hated on that much because they screwed up. Okay, before this video gets too long, let me talk about the other stuff. So I'm gonna keep going with that one. I'm not gonna do enough for sure. I want to keep going with that one. I mean, that's even quicker because it's middle grade. I keep trying to read this one in bed, but this is not going well because it's like, I mean, I'm not paying attention as much to it, and that's the short novels of Tolstoy. And I tried to look for it on Goodreads, but I could not find it. It did not have it there, and I typed the actual title, the short novels of Tolstoy, and they didn't have it, and it kind of annoyed me. Because I want to I like seeing how much I've read of each of my books. So, I couldn't even tell you, like, I think there's two counts going, like, and there's a group of people playing a card game or something, or something like that. I need to read it during the day when I can concentrate more, but I need to get the Never Seen done first, and then I can get back to this. So I'm thinking about tonight putting Never Seen on my nightstand and reading that in bed, because that will be a little easier to read in bed. Like, it won't be as hard to, even if I start falling asleep, I'll be able to retain the information. It'll be easier to remember what's going on in the book. But I like Tolstoy's writing. It's really pretty and very, but it's really all I have to, I mean, I haven't even read anything. I've read Dostoevsky, but I've not read Tolstoy yet. So this is my first reading of Tolstoy. So, as you know, I still got the library books. I did think about getting rid of the Edith Wharton, DNFing the Edith Wharton, or not even starting the Edith Wharton book, and just giving that back to the library, but I'm going to try it. I'm going to get into it at some point. And that's this one, The Buccaneers. And it's weird. It says completed by Marion Main Waring. So I'm wondering if this is the last one she wrote. Maybe it's the last novel she wrote before she died and she didn't get to finish it. I'll have to look that up. Because it says completed by Marion Main Waring. So maybe it's like with Charles Dickens and Edmund Drood. That was the last novel he was working on before he died and he didn't get to finish it. So maybe it's the same thing with her. And I see there's quite a few authors that happened. There's Charles Dickens, Jane Austen. I can't remember which novel of hers. And with that one, I think someone was saying, the person I was watching talk about that, so that one transitioned easily. And the same thing, and actually a modern author, same thing happened. It's in the Wheel of Time series. Robert Jordan had passed away before he could finish it, so Brandon Sanderson took over. I think a lot of people are worried that that's what's going to happen with George R. R. Martin, that he's going to pass, because he's an old dude. He's like in his 70s or something. And so they're worried that that's what's going to happen with him. And someone's going to have to take over. Which I think will be up to him. Oh, okay. Yeah, this was, Warren wrote this last, the For Splendid Fictions, when, yeah. So, So this little quote, this little blurb from Leon Edel said this was her last. So I guess, yeah. So she probably didn't get to finish it. So and that's why it's completed by Marion Mainwaring. She completed it for her. Oh, and another one I remember is that true crime one that just came out a couple years ago. I think it was in 2017 that it came out. There's a true crime. What was it? I can't think of what that one was called. I'll Be Gone in the Dark. It's about a serial killer. But she died before she could finish it, so other people completed it for her. She's married to the actor, the guy who plays the voice of Remy in the Pixar movie. I can't think what that one's called. It's one of my favorites. I need to watch that one again because I really like that one. It takes place in Paris. Okay, so I think I'm not gonna DNF it. I'm not gonna give it back. So I should say DNF it, but I'm not DNFing it because I didn't even start it. So I'm gonna I was gonna give it back to the library, but you know what? I'm gonna get into it. And at least I'll have 2 books to get back to the library, even if I decide to keep The Bone Witch and continue with it. Because that's my goal to get Never Seen done. I think I have potential, even if, everyone's here on Thanksgiving, the chapters are not that long, so I can get a lot of it read. I just gotta remember to focus on it more so. Again, I feel self-conscious because it's a middle grade, and I feel like non-readers will, I almost feel a little judged, even though I shouldn't. Who cares what they think? But part of me will always care to an extent, and I almost feel self-conscious that I'm reading a middle grade book. I almost was worried yesterday when I brought it downstairs to read it during breakfast. And my dad was there, and I was worried he would be like, "Oh, wow, I can't believe you're reading that. It's such a chunky book." And then I was like, well, no, don't be all that impressed, because, it's a great book, and it's well written, but it's still for younger readers. It's not for my age group, so I just have to like it. And yeah, it's chunky and long because most fantasy authors, as the books progress, as the books get longer and longer. But don't get too excited because it's still middle grade. Okay, so I still have Witch of the Sisters of the Winterwood to read. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, the story about Duncan Egg. The Tolstoy collection. Gulliver's Travels, which I'm glad they have that one because I wanted to read that in my British literature class. Fortunately, we didn't get to it because we spent so much time in Canterbury Tales. And we barely got into Hamlet. I don't know why I said Hamilton. I did that yesterday when I was reading another book that I'm about to talk about real quick. It's about the history of New York. So it talks about Hamilton, and then it mentioned someone named Hamlet, or Hamlet. No, I think it was Hamlet. And I said Hamilton again, and it was like, no, wait, that's Hamlet. That's not Hamilton. So I was getting it mixed up. So Gulliver's Travels, I gotta keep going. I want to read it. Normal People by Sally Rooney. Like I said, I heard about that book from a lot of British booktubers, and it was a Women's Prize nomination, I think, or Man Booker. I think one of those prizes. And then I want to reread Practical Magic because I just finished the prequel book, so I want to read that one and refresh my memory about that book. Because I read that one years ago, and I don't remember that well. I just remember it was different from the movie. It had the basic story, but there were some differences. I just don't remember what they were. So the other book, the one about New York's history, is Broadway, the history of New York in 13 miles. As you can see, I'm almost done with it. I am just loving this history lesson. It's so fun. It's so cool to learn about the progress of New York. And I was just telling my mom this morning while we were eating breakfast, and she was working on the Magnet Tiles project because my nephews are coming, so she bought some Magnet Tiles for them to play while they're here. It's really cool. If you have little kids, I should tell Heather from Bookables about this. I don't know if she's heard about this, but the Magnet Tiles is this Or I have a friend, Nicole, who has a little girl. Although I guess her little girl, Veronica's a little too old. Probably maybe too old for magnet tiles. But I think it's really great for kids because it's like these plastic, um, multicolored, plastic, brightly colored tiles that are squares and triangles, and you can build stuff with them. And so it's kind of like Legos, but they have magnets instead, and you can build different things like house, like buildings, and the ones that she just got were like, it's not actually magnet tiles, but it's kind of like magnet tiles. It's the same kind of thing, but it's not the official like label of magnet tiles. But the one she got involves you can build what looks like a soccer ball, although she said they called it a football. And there's one of them they had the Ferris. You can build a Ferris wheel. I don't know what's in the other box, but she didn't know. She just opened this one, the one. Although she might have opened the other one, because you know how you kind of, when you buy stuff like that, you kind of want to test out the product so that you can help the little kid, to work on it, so you don't have to figure it out as you go along. You can like already know how to do it, so you can help them build it themselves. Although Harrison's pretty smart, my nephew, he's pretty smart, so he could probably figure it out on his own. But anyway, so yeah, so she was playing with those, which is, it's really cool. While I was reading the next section, and like mile 12, and I was telling her how there's so much in New York. We always go up to the city because our goal is to see a show, maybe do a little shopping. We don't ever explore the rest of New York. We just go to Manhattan and Broadway, and we are focused on going to a show, so we never really explore the city or explore the rest of New York. And like Reagan from Peruse Projects, back in October, she and her Clay, I don't know if Clay's her husband or her boyfriend. I think they're just boyfriend and girlfriend. I don't know if they're married. But they went to the town of Sleepy Hollow for Halloween in October, which I thought that was really cool. I'm a huge fan of Sleepy Hollow, and now I can claim I've read the original story, and I've seen a play version of the original story, and it's one of these things where there are flaws, and it's not the greatest piece of literature ever written. It's beautifully written, but there are things about it that, as a modern reader, that I don't like. Like the female character, Katrina, doesn't have much of a part. It's mostly the reader narrating. There's a little bit of dialogue. The character, both guys, there's only like 3 characters. I mean, there's other characters mentioned, but the book focuses mainly on Ichabod, Katrina, and Abraham, or Brahm. And both guys are not very likable. And they're both kind of cocky and arrogant, and well, I guess cocky and arrogant are the same thing. And they're, not, neither one of them is very likable, and I wouldn't date either one of them. That's how, a lot of times I always think that, okay, would I date this guy? But then I have to remember, I always remind myself that, yes, I know he's not real, but, if he was real, would I date him? But I always remind myself that even if the main character, if there's a love triangle or something, and the main character does not choose the guy that I like, it's like, well, it's not up to me. This is who the character wants to be with. So it's who the character falls in love. I understand, it makes it more special if they end up with the guy that you like. And that's, I think, why, like, sometimes rom-coms try to make the one guy as unlikable as possible. Especially, like, in the Countdown to Christmas movies, the other guy, they try to make him, if there's a love triangle in the Christmas movie, they have to make the other guy, they make the other guy as unlikable as possible. Like, either he's, they don't have much of a romantic relationship, or he's more about business, or he's not, him and the girl aren't on the same page anymore, or he's arrogant and cocky or something. There's always something that makes him unlikable. Because I guess it makes it easier because they want you to really like the end game guide. Because this is just a movie. It's only 2 hours long. But yeah, but anyway, there's so much in New York that I've always wanted to see, especially after reading this book, that we never really, even when we're in the city, because most of this book talks about the city, there's stuff in the city that I've never noticed before. Like, let's see if I can find it. There's a picture of a building that I really like. I'll start on page, go to that chapter. I'm too far. I'll go to that section. Let me see if I can find it. But there's a particular building in New York that I think is a really cool thing that I don't know what's there. Like, they talk about the churches that were built. Here's one picture. That's not one. No, that's not it either. There's one particular church. Or not church, building that I think is really cool. Oh, I don't know where it is. Is there a... Nope, there's not. Well, I guess I can, but I don't want to waste time with that because this video is getting pretty long. But there's one building that's like, it's really long, but it's not as wide. It's very narrow. I can't think of what the building is called. I don't know if it's still there, but I would love to see it if it is. I think it's really cool. It's a really famous building because of the way it's built. Like, it's like this. It's narrow, but it's like, it's really long. I want to see that. And my mom just reminded me that to see the 9/11 site, because I went there once when it was being worked on, back when the thespian kids all went to go see it. The site, and it was kind of like it was almost kind of disappointing because there wasn't much there except for a fenced off area, and I didn't really get to see. And I was trying to take pictures. I had one of those disposable cameras. But it just wasn't. It was kind of, like I said, it was a disappointment. And I was more focused on seeing, like, the shows and stuff like that and going to the special. And that's when I got my friend's t-shirt that I wear to bed now. And that's when we also did the whole NBC Studios tour. Vaguely remember that. It's so funny. I always, when we do stuff when I've done stuff like that, sometimes it happens around the time when I'm not as interested, and it's after the fact, years and years later, when all of a sudden I'm interested, and I wish I could go back and see it again. And same with, going to theme parks and stuff. Like, we went to, whenever we go to, Disney or something, I always think, oh, I want to go back, because, I feel like there's so much I didn't experience. But I'm almost done with this, so my goal is to finish this book, and it'll be kind of nice to finish another nonfiction book. Like, be able to put that as the next book I read. The next book on my list of books I've read this year. And then I can do Never Seen, which will be book 99, probably. Because this will be 99 if I get this one done first. And that will be book 100, because I'm on book 98. So if I get this done first, then this will be book 100, or book 99, and then that one will be book 100. But, so as you can see, I've got a lot of library books to read first, but I want to get this one done first, and then I want to focus on Never Seen, because I'll get it done quicker. So I have 3 days to read it. Although I will get a chance to read, tomorrow on Tuesday, because they won't come until the afternoon, so I'll have all morning to read it. My family won't start coming until And I'll have my haircut finally by then. Yes! Finally. So then if I do a video on Tuesday, you'll see that unless I did a video before I left, you'll see that I have this is gone. This will be gone, and I will have cute hair again. I mean, I know people say, oh, your hair is getting so long, it looks so cute, and they're disappointed, like one of our managers, saying, oh, your hair is so long, because normally I wear it up in a ponytail, but around this time of year, I do the whole headband thing, and she was saying, oh, your hair's getting so long, and I don't know if I shouldn't have done this or not, because now they'll realize that there will be at some point where I'm not in an appointment. Of course, all that same time, it's like, well, an appointment's not going to take that long, depending on what kind of appointment it is and where it is. But, so I was wondering, maybe I should have told her that it was a haircut appointment, even though she's already given me the day off. Which I gotta check that, because I have to make sure I get Christmas off. I mean, I'm pretty sure I will, but I'm always, when I have that period of it's pending, when it's like yellow, and that's like kind of like how with the traffic lights, yellow means slow down, not exactly stop, but they're getting ready to put on a red, which and it's like slowing down. They're deciding, do we give her this day off or not, this time off? And I think they will, as long as I said they're going to Charleston for Christmas. So I'm hoping I will. I'm pretty sure I'll get it, but there's always a small chance that they would be like, no, we need you to stay. But I mean, the way Deborah talked, it made me get the impression that, yeah, she'll probably give me off as long as I let them know and had asked far enough advance, which I did. So, but either way, I need to check and see if I got it yet. But I don't know, maybe because it's still only November. But, yeah, so I want to focus on this one before I go to work, and I need to focus on Never Seen before I go to work as well, at least read a little bit of that one. And the good news is the chapters are not that long, so some of them are long. But like I said, I'll read the last section of this one, Mile 13, get that one done, do a quick review of it. It's on Goodreads. I'm tempted to not do star ratings anymore, because I've come to realize that your feelings on a book are so objective or subjective. So it's like, I feel like giving a star rating is a little like, just because I do watch those videos where it's like people talk about the books that they hate that everybody loved, and it's like everybody has such different taste. So just because other people, you hated it or don't get why people love this book, or you love it and don't get why people hate it, it's like, well, it's their opinion, so it's a little like, it shouldn't necessarily, it's not like official or like law that you have to hate this or love this book. And I think the only reason people might say things like a book is overrated is because they don't get why people love it so much, why it got so popular. Like, they get disappointed when they read it. And that's why I think people don't like when books are hyped. Because it's like, I mean, it's a way, if a book is hyped, it's a way to sell a book. But then the flip side of that is that if a book is hyped, what if you read the book and you end up being like, oh, it was okay, it was good, but it wasn't like the best book ever. Or, really, everyone loved this book, oh my god, that's such a terrible book. So it's like, almost like, if a book is hyped, it's destined to be bad to you or just okay to you. If it's a book that's hyped and you haven't read it yet. So, I feel like you should not, I feel like that's the problem, people let hype influence their decision. And sometimes it ends up being a book that they agree, why they understand why it's hype and they loved it, but then like I said, there are those situations where a book is hyped and it's like, wait, why? I mean, it's not that great. I mean, it was good, but it wasn't like, wow. Now, for me personally, I'm pretty mostly easy to please as long as it's one of the genres that I love, you know. But again, like the whole situation with the Bone Witch is that there's aspects of that book that have been brought to my attention on BookTube for past books in the past that it's like now it's kind of starting to bother me a little bit, or I'm starting to notice it more, which is good because then I can learn to be a little more critical. But anyway. So I'm going to stop now because this video is getting pretty long and there's a possibility it might go into a minute in length and I want to have time to get my reading done before I have to go to work so if you guys like this video and were bored by it and were actually interested in what I have to say, give it a thumbs up, click subscribe if you have not already, and I hope you are enjoying your own reading, and I will talk to you all later. Alright, bye!